Hi students, in this quick video, I'm going to give you an overview for the instructions of essay number 3, Writer's Reflection. I want to remind you that you've had these instructions all semester long. They're linked in the syllabus and in the course calendar. So I'm going to head over to the syllabus and click on those instructions. And again, you can click on them as well on the course calendar the last week of class. So here I am on the syllabus and I'm scrolling down to the assignments and grading section. And here were the instructions right here in a link. So I'm going to open those up. And here are the instructions. Now you'll notice that in the syllabus, if you read it carefully, and in these instructions, this is a rhetorical analysis essay. You wrote a rhetorical analysis for essay 1. Then in essay 2, you wrote a straightforward argument in a letter using a Rogerian style. So this particular essay is requiring that you reflect on your essay 2. So this first part of the instructions are just the usual guidelines, how many words and things like that. You can take a look at that. So here's where we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of the instructions. So you're going to write a multi-paragraph essay, which is a rhetorical analysis, but you're going to write this rhetorical analysis about your own essay 2. So if you recall, in essay 1, you wrote a rhetorical analysis about a New York Times article. So you read an article off the New York Times, which had an argument, and then you picked it apart. You looked for things about the author's rhetoric. You looked at their use of ethos and pathos. You looked at maybe the use of logical fallacies. Now, keep in mind everything that you used to prepare you to write essay 1. Go back and re-look at those readings. So here I have some tips to remind you about those readings that helped you. Reread your essay 1, your rhetorical analysis, your notes from your readings, page 159 and 160 in your textbook are also really important in this assignment because they go over the different aspects of rhetoric that you could pull apart in someone's argument. Look at your drafts from essay 1. What were your struggles when you were writing a rhetorical analysis and then you understood, okay, this is how I write a rhetorical analysis? Because I know most students struggle with this. It's a very difficult writing because it requires lots of critical thinking. So go back and recall what exactly is a rhetorical analysis, right? Then you're going to take those same skills and you're going to pull apart your own argument. Again, you are not reviewing a New York Times article. You're going to look at your own argument this time, and you're going to reflect on your own rhetoric. The reason I'm assigning this is because there's a combination of reflection and a combination of rhetorical choice and reflecting on rhetorical choices that you've made as a writer. And it helps you to understand that you are a writer. You are someone who is presenting an argument. And so this is a great assignment for you to kind of let all of the skills that we've been working on this semester just kind of click and fall into place. So after you've refreshed your memory about rhetorical analysis, it's really important that you reread your own essay closely, your own essay 2. So take a look at the rhetorical choices that you've made in essay 2. Okay. Did you use pathos? Why did you try to appeal to the author's emotions? Why did you try to appeal to their logic? Is it because of your research that you did on them and you saw that they are a scientist and you wanted to appeal to their logic instead of their emotions? This essay is for you to explain about your rhetorical choices for essay 2 and to analyze those rhetorical choices. It's the same thing that you did for essay 1, except now you're looking at your own argument. So something, this is sort of new. I refreshed the sample that I have here. So all semester there was a sample here, but just last night I put in a new sample. And so I'm going to go ahead and open this sample up and just quickly go through it with you. Now, the reason I refreshed the sample was because this is the same student that you've been reading all semester long in the samples. So you saw all her summary responses, you saw her rhetorical analysis, and you saw her Rogerian letter, and then this is her own writer's reflection. So in this sample that I'm showing you, she's writing a rhetorical analysis about her own argument, which is exactly what you have to do for essay 3. So you'll see that she starts off with an introduction. Now, the introduction should build some background, just like you had to do for essay 1. So you're going to provide some context about this issue. You'll notice that she starts off with some background about why she got interested in this topic and some current events or some past events that kind of spurred her curiosity. Now, the great thing about this is that you may already have a really great intro from your rhetorical analysis or from your Rogerian letter. You can use your writing that you've already done, just like I've been telling you all semester. Look at your summary responses, look at your essays. Can you pull together an intro based off of what you've already written? Okay. Then her next paragraph is a summary. Now, this outline that I'm going over, guess where you've heard it before? You heard it in the How to Write a Rhetorical Analysis video way back in the early part of the semester. So you can go back to that YouTube video where I'm explaining how to write a rhetorical analysis, and you can refresh yourself on that outline as well. So that's why I'm kind of giving you a summed up version of this, because you've already been through this. So this next paragraph is a summary of her own argument. So you can see here she's using I. You kind of have to use I in this paper because it's a reflective writing. So she's saying, in my Rogerian letter, I, and then she sums up what she does and what her argument is in that letter. And then, just like in the rhetorical analysis that you wrote for essay 1, she has a 1-sentence paragraph, which is her thesis statement. And some of y'all may recall this because it was so unique to you, in where she is providing the 2 aspects of rhetoric that she's going to analyze. Again, page 159 and 160 in your textbook are going to be so crucial for you. Just like you learned while writing essay 1, you do not have to talk about fallacies. That was a big confusion for some of you all. You just wanted to focus on fallacies, or you felt you had to just focus on fallacies. You do not. What I would advise is to find one thing about your rhetoric that you thought worked effectively and one thing about your rhetoric that you thought you struggled with. So if you take a look at her thesis, she does a nice job mixing those 2 aspects in one statement. In my argument, I effectively establish a conversational tone by providing the author with thought-provoking questions instead of attacking her. So that's an aspect of her rhetoric where she's reflecting and she's saying, I think I did a good job on this, and this is why. And she'll explain that in her paragraph. And then her next point she makes is, still, I make the assumption that the government knows what is best for children, which weakens my argument. So she's claiming that her use of assumptions is what is weakening her rhetoric in this piece. So I think this is a really effective approach to mix maybe something that you struggled with and something that you did well. Now, this is not a reflective writing like, Okay, this is what I had challenge with in this. No, 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 no. This is a rhetorical analysis. So you have to analyze your own rhetoric. This is not just a general reflection about the semester. This is not just a general reflection about how you wrote the essay. This is about your own rhetoric. So I should see rhetorical language in this piece. So in her first body paragraph after her thesis, she's going to speak about the thought-provoking questions which help establish her conversational tone, and that directly matches with her first point in her thesis. So we're still using those essay um, foundational points that we've been learning all semester long. The points in your thesis should match the points in your topic sentences. So notice how specific she is. A lot of students, when they get this assignment, they say, so ma'am, do I quote myself? And the answer to that is yes. So here we have, she's quoting herself from her Rogerian letter. For example, in my first paragraph, I ask, and then she quotes herself. Okay. You do not have to cite yourself. Okay. Um, but every time you quote yourself, make sure that you explain what that quote was doing and how it relates to your overall point. The more specific examples you have, the more developed your paragraph will be, just like for any essay. Okay. Her next point is about the weakness of her rhetoric, which is when she makes assumptions. Now, remember, that directly matches with her thesis statement that she made. So she has her topic sentence and she has specifics from her paper, from her essay too. Now, the most important thing about this essay, I think, for students is to go back and review rhetorical analysis, essay writing. And that requires you go back and watch the videos, you go back and skim the readings, and especially review your drafts and see what the challenges were that you had so that you make sure not to make those same mistakes in this paper. And then, of course, her conclusion is about the relevance of her Rogerian letter, right? So, what is the importance of that Rogerian letter that you wrote? Why is it relevant? Why is it important that people stop and look at your letter? And how is it adding to the discussion? So here she's saying that her Rogerian letter provided a solid argument to the discussion and may persuade others into the same thinking that she had. Okay, so that's her so what factor. Now, again, I'm encouraging you to look at the conclusions you've already written because all your assignments were connected this semester. It's not like you wrote separate papers about completely separate things. So you can go ahead and, scour those papers and those posts that you've been, putting away all semester long and pull together a conclusion from writing that you've already done. All right. So that's the overview of the sample. And again, it's linked right here in the assignment instructions. You can find the assignment instructions on the syllabus, and also you can find it right here on the course calendar where it says Essay 3. So what I would advise before you email me with your questions, make sure that you've reviewed the instructions, the rhetorical analysis instructions way back from Essay 1, the videos to kind of get a grip on what this paper is asking you to do. So again, you're writing a rhetorical analysis about your own Essay 2. You're reflecting on your own rhetoric. So when you're ready to submit your final draft of this writing, you're going to click right here on Submit Final Drafts, and then this page will pop up and you'll scroll all the way down to Essay 3 Writer's Reflection. And once you click on that, you can upload a file of your essay. There are no drafts due for this assignment, just that one final draft. So, this is good practice for you for writing in other courses where you don't have to turn in drafts. Just make sure that you use all the resources that I've provided for you. All right, guys, so that's pretty much it for the essay number 3 overview. If you have any questions, please go ahead and email me.